My daughter was 6 years old when she told me about her other mommy. It was a Tuesday night, bath time. One of those ordinary evenings that you don't expect to remember, the kind that blurs into all the other bath times, all the other bedtimes, all the other unremarkable moments of raising a child. Lily was playing with her rubber ducks, making them have conversations in silly voices. I was sitting on the edge of the tub, scrolling through my phone, half listening the way parents do when they've heard the same duck dialogue 400 times before. Then she said something that made me put my phone down. "Mommy, do you know my other mommy?" I looked at her, really looked at her. "What do you mean, baby?" "My other mommy." She said it so casually, still moving her duck through the bubbles. "The one who visits me at night." The warmth drained from the room. The steam from the bath seemed to evaporate. I set my phone on the counter and turned my whole body toward my daughter. "Lily, what other mommy? What are you talking about?" She shrugged. "The pretty lady who comes to my room when I'm sleeping. She sits on my bed and watches me. Sometimes she sings. She said she's my other mommy, and I shouldn't tell you because it's our special secret." My heart stopped, literally stopped for a beat. "How long has this been happening?" "I don't know." She thought about it. "Maybe since my birthday." Her birthday was 4 months ago. I pulled Lily out of the bathtub so fast that water splashed across the floor. I wrapped her in a towel and held her against my chest, my mind racing through possibilities. A nightmare, an imaginary friend, a game, a lie for attention, or something real. Someone real. Someone who had been entering my home, climbing the stairs, opening my daughter's bedroom door, and sitting on her bed while I slept 20 feet away. "Mommy, you're squeezing too tight." "Sorry, baby. I'm sorry." I loosened my grip but didn't let go. "Lily, this is very important. What does your other mommy look like?" She scrunched up her face, thinking. "She has yellow hair, long yellow hair, and she's really skinny, and she smells nice, like flowers." "Yellow hair. I'm black. My hair is dark, natural, coiled. Nothing like what Lily was describing." "Does Daddy know about her?" I asked carefully. Lily's face changed. She looked down at her hands. "Lily, does Daddy know about the lady who visits you?" "He told me not to tell," she whispered. "He said it was our special secret." My husband knew. That's what my 6-year-old daughter had just told me. My husband knew that a strange woman was entering our home at night, visiting our daughter's bedroom, and he had told Lily to keep it secret from me. I'm going to tell you this entire story from the beginning. Every lie, every manipulation, every moment that led to that night in the bathroom when my world shattered into 1,000 pieces. What I discovered about my husband, about my daughter, and about the woman who called herself Lily's other mommy is something I still struggle to process. There are parts of the story I've only told my therapist and my lawyer. There are parts that wake me up at 3 a.m, heart pounding, reaching for a daughter who isn't in the next room anymore. This is a story about what happens when the person you trust most turns out to be a complete stranger. This is a story about mothers, the ones who give birth, the ones who raise, and the ones who get erased. Let me start with the day I became a mother. Because that day, the happiest day of my life, was built on a lie so elaborate that even now, years later, I don't fully understand how Marcus constructed it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start even earlier. Let me start with the diagnosis that changed everything. When I was 28 years old, my doctor told me I would never have biological children. Endometriosis had destroyed my reproductive system. IVF was technically an option, but my success rate was under 5%. I cried for 3 days. Being a mother was central to who I was. I had dreamed about it since I was a little girl, playing with baby dolls, imagining the children I would have someday. Losing that dream felt like losing a limb. Marcus, my boyfriend of 2 years, held me through all of it. When I told him the news, certain he would leave, he pulled me closer. "We'll figure it out," he said. "There are other ways to become parents. I love you, Danielle. This changes nothing." He proposed 3 months later. We married the following spring in a small ceremony, just family and close friends. And almost immediately, we started talking about adoption. Marcus was enthusiastic, more enthusiastic than I expected. He researched agencies, attended information sessions, even started setting up the nursery before we'd been matched with anyone. "I just want to be ready," he said when I asked why he was moving so fast. "When our baby comes, I want everything perfect." I thought it was sweet. I thought I was the luckiest woman alive. What I didn't know was that Marcus had a very specific reason for his enthusiasm. A reason that had nothing to do with me and everything to do with a woman I had never met. A woman with yellow hair who smelled like flowers. A woman who, according to my husband, was dead. My husband told me his ex-girlfriend died in a car accident 2 years before we met. He said they had no children together. He said he had grieved and moved on. Every word of that was a lie. And the adoption that made me a mother? It wasn't an adoption at all. The adoption process was supposed to take 2 to 3 years. That's what every agency told us. Background checks, home studies, matching with a birth mother, mountains of paperwork. The timeline was long and unpredictable. So when Marcus came home 6 months into the process and said he had found a baby for us, I was stunned. "What do you mean, found a baby?" "A friend of a coworker. She's pregnant. Can't keep the baby, looking for adoptive parents. I told her about us, showed her our profile, and she wants to meet you." "Marcus, that's not how this works. We have to go through the agency. Private adoptions are faster and completely legal. I already talked to a lawyer. This woman wants a closed adoption, no contact after birth, and she chose us, Danielle. She chose us." His eyes were shining with hope. I wanted to ask more questions. Who was this woman? How did he really know her? Why was everything moving so impossibly fast? But that hope in his eyes made me swallow my doubts. Okay, let's meet her. Her name was Sarah. At least that's what Marcus told me. We met at a coffee shop. She was late 20s, blonde, thin everywhere except the pregnancy bump, and she seemed incredibly nervous. She barely looked at me during the entire meeting. "I can't keep this baby," she said quietly, staring at her hands. "I'm not in a good place, but I want her to have a good life. Marcus says you'll be a wonderful mother. Her, a girl." Tears sprang to my eyes. "I promise you," I said. "I will love her with everything I have." Sarah nodded. She looked at Marcus for a long moment, a look I didn't understand at the time, and then signed the preliminary paperwork. The meeting lasted 45 minutes. I hugged her before she left and thanked her for this incredible gift. She stiffened in my arms just for a second, and then she was gone. Looking back, there were so many red flags. The way she avoided eye contact with me, the way she looked at Marcus, the way she said his name, not like a stranger, but like someone with history. But I was desperate to be a mother. I refused to see what was right in front of me. 6 weeks later, Marcus got a phone call. Sarah was in labor. I was at work. I dropped everything and drove 2 hours to the small private hospital Sarah had chosen. By the time I arrived, it was over. Marcus met me in the lobby. He was holding a bundle wrapped in a pink blanket. "Danielle," he said, his voice cracking, "meet your daughter." I took her from his arms. She was so small, so perfect. A tuft of dark hair, the tiniest fingers I had ever seen. She opened her eyes and looked at me, and I swear she saw me. Really saw me. "Lily," I whispered, the name we had chosen together. "Her name is Lily." I asked to see Sarah, to thank her, to tell her I would honor this gift every single day. "She already left," Marcus said. "She didn't want to see the baby. Too painful. She signed the final paperwork and discharged herself an hour ago." I was disappointed, but I understood. Or I thought I understood. What I didn't know, what I wouldn't know for 6 years, was that nothing about that day was real. I brought Lily home and became her mother in every way that mattered. I woke up for the 2 a.m. feedings. I walked the floors when she was colicky. I learned to function on 3 hours of sleep. I documented every milestone, first smile, first tooth, first word. I braided her hair even though our textures were different. I answered her questions about why her skin was lighter than mine, why her hair was straighter. Families come in all shapes and colors, I told her. What matters is that we love each other. And I did love her. God, I loved her so much it scared me sometimes. She was my whole world, my reason for everything. Marcus was a good father too, or he seemed to be. Patient, playful, present. He came to every school event, every ballet recital. We looked like the perfect family, but perfect families don't have secrets. And ours had a secret so dark that when it finally emerged, it didn't just destroy my marriage. It nearly destroyed me. For 6 years, I was Lily's mother. I nursed her through fevers, taught her to ride a bike, read her 1,000 bedtime stories, and the entire time, a woman was out there searching for her. A woman who had given birth to her. A woman who had been told her baby went to strangers in California. A woman who spent 5 years hiring private investigators, following dead ends, grieving a daughter who was very much alive and living with me. Her name wasn't Sarah. There was no co-worker connection. There was no legitimate adoption agency, no legal process, no birth mother who willingly gave up her child. There was only Rebecca, Marcus's secret ex-wife. The woman he told me was dead, and she had come to take her daughter back. The woman with yellow hair, who visited my daughter at night, wasn't a ghost. She wasn't a nightmare. She was Lily's biological mother, a woman my husband had stolen a child from, and she had spent 6 years tracking us down. The night Lily told me about her other mommy, I put her to bed and went straight to Marcus. He was in our bedroom, laptop open, watching something. When I walked in, he smiled that easy, comfortable smile I had loved for 10 years. "Hey, babe. Lily asleep?" "Marcus." My voice was ice. "Lily told me something tonight about a woman who visits her at night, a woman she calls her other mommy. And she said you told her to keep it secret." The smile vanished. Color drained from his face. He closed the laptop slowly, carefully, like a man buying time. "Danielle. Don't Danielle me. Who is the woman, Marcus? Who is coming into my house, into my daughter's room, and why do you know about it?" Silence. Long, damning silence. "It's complicated," he finally said. "Then uncomplicate it, right now, or I'm calling the police." He looked at me, and for the first time in 10 years, I saw something I didn't recognize in his eyes. Fear. "Her name is Rebecca," Marcus said. "She's Lily's biological mother." The room tilted. "What?" "Sarah is Lily's biological mother, the woman at the coffee shop. There is no Sarah." He looked up, eyes wet. "I made her up. Rebecca is Lily's mother. And Rebecca was my wife." Wife. The word hit me like a physical blow. "You were married before me?" "Yes." "You never told me." "I know." "You said your ex died." "Rebecca. Car accident." I lied. I grabbed the dresser for balance. "Then who was the pregnant woman at the coffee shop?" "That was Rebecca. She was pregnant with our baby, mine and hers, when I left her. I told her I'd help find adoptive parents, but I never planned to let strangers take our daughter. I planned to take her myself, to raise her with you." "With me," I repeated, barely breathing. Rebecca was unstable, mental health issues. She wasn't fit to be a mother. I was protecting Lily. I started packing, pulled suitcases from the closet and threw clothes inside, mine and Lily's. No plan, just the overwhelming need to get out of that house. "Danielle, please, let me explain." "Explain what? That you kidnapped a child? That you committed fraud? That you've lied to me for our entire marriage?" "I did it for us. Rebecca was unstable. She couldn't hold a job. She was going to ruin Lily's life. I gave her a better life. I gave her you. You don't get to make that choice." I spun around. "You don't get to steal a baby and decide who deserves to be her mother. If Rebecca was unfit, you go to court. You don't forge papers and lie to your wife for 6 years. If I'd told you the truth, you never would have agreed." "You're damn right I wouldn't have, because what you did is criminal." I zipped the suitcase and reached for Lily's door. "Where are you going?" "My mother's house. Then I'm calling a lawyer." I didn't wait. I didn't look back. I thought I was protecting Lily by taking her away from Marcus. I thought he was the danger, his lies, his manipulation, his crimes. But I had forgotten about the woman with yellow hair. The woman who had been visiting Lily for 4 months. The woman who had been waiting for exactly this moment. When I got to my mother's house that night, she was already there. My mother's house was 45 minutes away. Lily slept the entire drive, exhausted from being woken up and bundled into the car at 10 o'clock at night. I kept checking the rearview mirror, expecting Marcus to follow. He didn't. He was probably home, panicking, trying to figure out how to salvage 6 years of lies. Mom was waiting in the doorway when I pulled up. I had called her from the road, given her the shortest version of events. "Give her to me," Mom said, reaching for Lily. "I'll put her in the guest room. You need to sit down before you collapse." I handed over my sleeping daughter and walked into the house, my childhood home, the one place where I had always felt safe. I should have checked the back door. I should have realized that Rebecca had been watching us for 4 months, which meant she knew exactly where my mother lived. But I was exhausted and heartbroken and not thinking clearly. So when I walked into my mother's kitchen to get a glass of water, I didn't expect to find someone already there, sitting at the table, waiting. She was thin, blonde, exactly how Lily had described her. She was sitting at my mother's kitchen table, hands folded, like she'd been invited for tea. "Hello, Danielle." Her voice was soft, almost gentle. "I've been wanting to meet you for a long time." I couldn't move, couldn't scream. I just stood frozen, glass of water in hand. "My name is Rebecca, but I think you already know that. Marcus probably told you his version tonight. The version where I'm the crazy ex and he's the hero who saved our daughter from her unstable mother." "How did you get in here?" "Back door was unlocked. Your mother should be more careful." She smiled without warmth. "I'm not here to hurt anyone, Danielle. I just want to talk, mother to mother." "You need to leave. I'm calling the police." "Go ahead. Tell them the woman whose baby was stolen 6 years ago is sitting in your kitchen. I'm sure they'll be very interested." I didn't call. My hand was shaking too much. "Sit down," Rebecca said. "Please. I'll tell you everything Marcus didn't." I should have called the police. I should have screamed for my mother. But something in Rebecca's voice, the raw pain beneath the calm, made me sit down. "Marcus and I were married for 3 years," she began. "He was charming at first, attentive. Everything you think you know about him, the good parts, that's real. He can be wonderful when he wants to be." "What happened?" "I got pregnant, and everything changed." Her jaw tightened. "He didn't want the baby, said we weren't ready. He pressured me to terminate, and when I refused, he became someone I didn't recognize, cold, controlling. He called me crazy, unfit, said I would ruin our child's life. He told me you had mental health issues." Rebecca laughed bitterly. "I had anxiety, postpartum depression after Lily was born. Do you know Marcus's response? He documented every bad day, every tearful moment, every time I raised my voice. He built a case against me before Lily was a month old." "When Lily was 3 months old," Rebecca continued, her voice breaking, "Marcus told me he wanted a divorce. He said I was too unstable to be a mother, that he was going to get full custody, and I would never see my daughter again. What did you do?" I believed him. I was so deep in postpartum depression that I believed everything he said. When he suggested adoption, finding a good family for Lily so neither of us would have to fight, I was in such a dark place that it almost made sense. Tears were rolling down her cheeks now. She didn't wipe them away. "He told me the baby was going to a couple in California. He said it was a closed adoption. I would never know their names, never see my daughter again. I signed whatever he put in front of me because I was exhausted and medicated and convinced I was a terrible mother." "And then?" "Then he disappeared. New phone number, new address, gone. I spent 5 years trying to find him. Hired investigators. Hit dead end after dead end. I was told to accept that my daughter was gone forever." "How did you find us?" I asked. "Social media. A ghost of a smile. Your company's Facebook page. You posted a photo at a community event, and Marcus was in the background. I recognized him immediately. My stomach dropped. That photo. The one my boss had tagged me in. The one I had thought was harmless. I tracked down the location and found your house. I watched for weeks before I got the courage to go inside. You broke into my home. The spare key under the flower pot. She shrugged. You should find a better hiding spot. And you just visited Lily while we slept? I needed to see her, to know she was okay, to know she was real and alive and not just a ghost I'd been chasing for 6 years. Her voice cracked. Do you have any idea what it's like to lose a child, Danielle? Not to death, but to theft. To wake up every morning and wonder where she is, what she looks like now, if she remembers you at all. I didn't answer. I couldn't. I sat in my mother's kitchen and listened to Rebecca tell her story, a story that contradicted everything Marcus had told me, and I believed her. I believed her because of Marcus's fear when I confronted him. I believed her because the adoption had been suspiciously fast, suspiciously easy. I believed her because Lily's description of the woman who visited her, kind, gentle, crying because she missed her, didn't sound like a stalker. It sounded like a mother who had lost her child. I'm not here to take Lily tonight, Rebecca said. I know you've raised her for 6 years. I know you love her. I'm not trying to erase that. Then what do you want? What was taken from me? I want to be part of my daughter's life. I want a court to hear what Marcus did. I want shared custody, if possible. She stood and walked toward the back door. I don't want to hurt you, Danielle. You're a victim too. The difference is you got to raise my daughter while I spent 6 years grieving her. Then she was gone. My mother found me still sitting at the kitchen table an hour later, staring at nothing. Who was she? Mom asked, sitting beside me. Lily's biological mother, the real one. I told her everything. Marcus's first marriage, the fake adoption, the lies, Rebecca's story. By the end, Mom's face was stone. What are you going to do? I don't know. Legally, I have no claim to Lily. The adoption was fake. Rebecca has every right to take her. You've raised that child for 6 years. You're the only mother she knows. That doesn't matter if a court decides. It matters. Mom grabbed my hands. You fight. You find the best lawyer in the state, and you fight for your daughter. She's not my daughter. Not really. Don't you dare say that. Mom's eyes were fierce. Biology doesn't make a mother. Love does. Sacrifice does. Being there every single day does. You are Lily's mother. Lily woke at 7. She blinked at the unfamiliar room, confused, then saw me and smiled. Mommy, are we at Grandma's house? Yes, baby. Is Daddy here? I hesitated. No, Daddy's at home. Why? 6 years old. How do you explain any of this? Grown-up stuff, baby. Nothing you need to worry about. She crawled into my lap and wrapped her arms around my neck. I love you, Mommy. I held her so tight. I love you too, Lily. More than anything. More than ice cream? I laughed, despite everything. More than all the ice cream in the world, she was mine. She had been mine for 6 years. She called me Mommy. I was the one who knew she liked strawberry milk but not strawberry yogurt. I was the one who knew exactly how she liked her hair braided. I was the one she reached for when she was scared. Whatever came next, whatever courts decided, I would fight for this child until my last breath. 2 days later, I was sitting in a lawyer's office. Michelle Chen, family law specialist with a reputation for winning impossible cases. Let me make sure I understand, she said. Your husband was previously married. His ex-wife gave birth to a child. He forged adoption papers and presented the child to you as a private adoption. You had no knowledge of any of this. Correct. And the biological mother has now surfaced and is threatening to seek custody. Yes. Michelle leaned back. Here's the difficult truth, Danielle. If Rebecca can prove the adoption was fraudulent, you have no legal standing as Lily's parent. The adoption paperwork is void. My heart sank. However, Michelle held up a finger. There's a concept called psychological parent, someone who has functioned as a child's primary caregiver, formed a genuine bond, and whose removal would cause significant harm to the child. Courts can and do grant custody to psychological parents, especially when the biological parent was absent for years. So, I have a chance? You have a chance. But we need to prove two things: that Marcus committed fraud, and that Lily's best interest is to remain with you. Rebecca filed a police report. Within a week, Marcus was being investigated for custodial interference, fraud, and falsifying legal documents. He called me 17 times the day the police questioned him. I didn't answer. His voicemails ranged from pleading to angry to desperate. Danielle, please, I can explain everything. You're ruining our family. Rebecca is lying. She's unstable. You can't believe her. I did this for us, for Lily. Why can't you see that? I saved every voicemail. My lawyer said they might be useful. The police investigation revealed that the adoption lawyer Marcus had used was indeed his college roommate, a man who wasn't even licensed to practice family law. The paperwork was completely fraudulent. There had been no home study, no background check, no birth mother counseling, nothing that would have happened in a legitimate adoption. Marcus had taken his own daughter from her mother using forged documents and lies, and he had handed that stolen child to me like a gift. The legal battle was about to begin. Rebecca versus me. 2 mothers, 1 child. But Marcus wasn't going to let his lies be exposed. He wasn't going to lose his wife, his daughter, and his freedom without a fight. What he did next was so desperate, so dangerous, that it nearly cost all of us everything. The first custody hearing happened 6 weeks after that night in my mother's kitchen. I sat on one side of the courtroom, Rebecca sat on the other. We didn't look at each other, but I could feel her presence like a weight. The judge, a woman in her 60s with gray hair and sharp eyes, read through the preliminary reports. "This is an unusual case," she said. "We have a biological mother who was defrauded. We have a psychological parent who raised the child for 6 years. And we have a father who is currently under criminal investigation." She looked at Marcus, who sat in the back with his own lawyer. He had been granted supervised visitation only 1 hour a week, with a social worker present. "The court's priority is the child's well-being," the judge continued. "Until we can determine what arrangement best serves Lily's interests, she will remain in the temporary custody of Mrs. Carter, with supervised visitation for both biological parents." I exhaled. Temporary custody. Not a victory, but not a loss either. Rebecca's jaw tightened, but she nodded. Rebecca's first supervised visit with Lily was 2 weeks later. I wasn't allowed in the room, but I watched through a window. A social worker sat in the corner, taking notes. Lily was shy at first. She hid behind her hair, the way she did with strangers. But Rebecca was patient. She sat on the floor, made herself small, and talked softly. "Hi, Lily. I'm Rebecca. I knew you when you were very, very little." "You're the lady who visits me at night," Lily said. Rebecca's face crumpled just for a second. "Yes. I'm sorry if I scared you." "You didn't scare me. You were nice." Lily cocked her head. "You said you're my other mommy. I gave birth to you. That means I carried you in my tummy before you were born. But Danielle, the mommy you live with, she's been taking care of you ever since." "So I have 2 mommies?" Rebecca smiled, though her eyes were wet. "I guess you do." Stood outside that room and felt my heart crack. Because as much as I wanted to hate Rebecca, I couldn't. She wasn't a villain. She was a mother who had lost her child and spent 6 years in agony. Over the following months, something unexpected happened. Rebecca and I started talking. Not as enemies, but as 2 women caught in the same nightmare. She came to Lily's school play. We sat in the same row. Afterward, Lily grabbed both our hands. "Both my mommies came," she announced to her teacher. The teacher looked confused. I couldn't blame her. "It's complicated," I said. The court-appointed therapist encouraged this co-parenting approach. "Lily is adapting remarkably well," she said. "Children are resilient, especially when the adults around them model cooperation instead of conflict." Cooperation. That's what Rebecca and I were building. Not friendship, not yet, but respect, understanding, a shared commitment to a little girl who had 2 mothers who loved her. Marcus, meanwhile, was spiraling. His criminal case was moving forward. He faced charges of fraud, falsifying documents, and custodial interference. His lawyer was negotiating a plea deal, but Marcus wasn't interested in pleading guilty. 3 months after I left him, I noticed a car parked down the street from my mother's house, a gray sedan with tinted windows. The first time, I thought nothing of it. The second time, I took note. The third time, I saw the driver's face in the streetlight. Marcus. He was watching the house, watching Lily's bedroom window, watching me come and go. I called the police. They spoke to him. He claimed he was just checking on his daughter and drove away. The next night, the car was back. "He's escalating," my lawyer said. "I'm filing for a restraining order." The restraining order was granted. Marcus was legally prohibited from coming within 500 feet of me, my mother's house, or Lily's school. It didn't stop him. The call came on a Thursday afternoon. "Mrs. Carter, this is Lily's school. We need you to come immediately. There's been an incident." I broke every speed limit getting there. When I arrived, the school was in lockdown mode. "What happened?" The principal met me in the lobby. "A man tried to pick Lily up early. He claimed to be her father, but he wasn't on the approved list. When we said we couldn't release her, he became aggressive." "Where's Lily?" "Safe. She's in my office with a counselor. The police are here." I found Lily sitting on a couch, clutching her backpack, eyes red from crying. "Mommy," she ran to me. "I'm here, baby. I'm here." The man said he was daddy, but he was acting scary. He yelled at the teacher. Marcus had tried to take Lily from school, in violation of a restraining order, in full view of witnesses. The police arrested him that afternoon. They charged Marcus with violating a restraining order and attempted custodial interference. Combined with his pending fraud charges, he was looking at real prison time. His bail was set at $50,000. His parents paid it. He was released within 24 hours. And that's when I realized that legal systems, restraining orders, and criminal charges meant nothing to a man who had already proven he would do anything to get what he wanted. He had stolen a baby from her mother. He had lied for 6 years. He had watched my house, violated a court order, and tried to snatch Lily from her school. This wasn't a man who would stop. So I stopped waiting for the system to protect us. I hired a private security company. I installed cameras around my mother's house. I changed Lily's school. I varied our routes, our schedules, our patterns. And I waited, because I knew Marcus wasn't finished. He came 3 weeks later, 2 in the morning. I was awake. I barely slept anymore, when the security alert pinged on my phone. Motion detected at the front door. I checked the camera feed, a figure on the porch, trying the door handle. The motion light clicked on. Marcus. He was wearing dark clothes, a hood pulled up, but I knew his silhouette, the way he moved, the shape of his shoulders. 10 years of marriage, and I knew his body as well as my own. He tried the door. Locked. He moved to a window. Also locked. He circled the house, testing every entry point. I'd already called 911. Police were on the way. Marcus disappeared around the back of the house. 30 seconds later, I heard glass breaking. I grabbed Lily from her bed and pulled her into the hallway closet. She was groggy, confused. "Mommy, what?" "Shh, be very quiet, baby. It's a game. We have to be as quiet as mice." I could hear footsteps downstairs, heavy, deliberate. "Danielle?" Marcus's voice echoed through the house. "I know you're here. I just want to see my daughter. Our daughter." Lily stiffened in my arms. "Daddy?" I pressed my hand gently over her mouth. "Quiet, baby. Remember the game." The footsteps were on the stairs now, coming closer. "Lily?" Marcus called. "Lily, sweetheart, it's Daddy. Come out. We're going on an adventure." I held my breath. Lily held hers. The closet was dark, cramped, hot. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. "Danielle." His voice was different now, cold. "I know you're in there. I can hear you breathing." The closet door handle started to turn, and then sirens. Close. Getting closer. Red and blue lights strobing through the hallway window. The door handle stopped moving. I heard Marcus swear, Heard him run. Heard the back door bang open. The police caught him in the backyard. He had a duffel bag with him, clothes, Lily's favorite stuffed animal, her passport. He had been planning to run. They arrested him on the ground while I watched from the window, Lily still clutched to my chest. "Is Daddy okay?" she asked. I didn't know how to answer that. Is a man okay when he breaks into a house at 2 a.m. to kidnap his daughter? Is a man okay when he's being handcuffed in the backyard of his mother-in-law's house? Daddy made some bad choices, I finally said. The police are going to help him.
The break-in changed everything. Marcus was denied bail. He remained in jail awaiting trial. His lawyers' plea negotiations collapsed. The prosecutor now wanted the maximum sentence. A month later, he was sentenced. 5 years in federal prison for fraud, falsifying legal documents, and violating a restraining order. The kidnapping charge alone could have been more, but he pleaded guilty. I was in the courtroom when the judge delivered the sentence. So was Rebecca. We sat together, not quite friends but no longer enemies. 5 years, she said quietly. 5 years, I repeated. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough to undo what he had done to both of us. But it was something. Justice. Accountability. A man finally facing consequences for the lies he had built his life on. With Marcus in prison, Rebecca and I were left to figure out our situation. 2 mothers, 1 child, no rulebook. We could have fought it out in court. Biological mother versus psychological parent. Legal rights versus emotional bonds. Winner takes all. But we didn't. Maybe it was because we had both seen what fighting looked like, the restraining orders, the stalking, the break-in. We had seen what happened when someone refused to share, refused to compromise. Or maybe it was because we both loved Lily too much to put her through a battle. I don't want to take her away from you, Rebecca said during one of our meetings. She doesn't know me. You're her mother in every way that matters. But you're her mother too, I said. She deserves to know you. We sat with that truth. 2 women who should have been enemies, finding their way to something else. We created our own custody arrangement. Not what any court would have ordered, but what worked for us. Lily lived with me. She was enrolled in school in my district. Her bedroom, her routine, her stability, that stayed with me. But Rebecca became part of our lives. She moved to a town 15 minutes away. She had dinner with us every Wednesday. She took Lily every other weekend. At first, it was awkward. 2 women who had every reason to hate each other, trying to share a child. But Lily made it easier. She accepted her 2 mommies situation with the flexibility that only children have. Maya at school has 2 dads, she told us one night. I have 2 moms. That's like the same thing, right? Something like that, baby, I said. Rebecca and I looked at each other over Lily's head and shared something that might have been a smile. Lily's 7th birthday was the first one we celebrated together. All 3 of us. Rebecca brought the cake. I did the decorations. We coordinated on gifts so we wouldn't duplicate. It was surreal, standing next to the woman whose child my husband had stolen, singing happy birthday to the little girl we both loved. This isn't what I imagined, Rebecca said quietly while Lily opened presents. What did you imagine? When I was searching for her, I imagined finding her with some terrible family. I imagined rescuing her, being her hero. And instead, I found a woman who loves her as much as I do, who raised her beautifully, who was just as much a victim as I was. She looked at me. I spent a lot of energy hating you before I met you. It's strange to realize you were exactly who I would have wanted to raise my daughter if I couldn't do it myself. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just nodded. Thank you, Rebecca said, for not making this a war. Thank you for the same. T's been 2 years since that night in the bathtub. 2 years since Lily told me about her other mommy. 2 years since my world fell apart and then slowly, painfully, rearranged itself into something new. Marcus is still in prison. He'll be out in 3 more years, and I don't know what happens then. My lawyer says his parental rights could be terminated given the circumstances. Rebecca and I are both prepared to fight that battle if we need to. But for now, we have something that works. An unconventional family. 2 mothers who learned to share instead of fight. Lily is thriving. That's what her therapist says. That's what her teachers say. And that's what I see every day when she comes home from school, full of stories, full of life. She calls me Mommy. She calls Rebecca Mama Becca. She doesn't remember the nighttime visits anymore, or if she does, she doesn't talk about them. She just knows she has 2 mothers who love her, and that's enough. People ask me how I do it. How I co-parent with the biological mother of my adopted daughter. How I sit across the table from the woman whose child was stolen and handed to me. The answer is complicated. I do it because Lily deserves it. She didn't ask for any of this. She didn't choose to be born to one mother, stolen by her father, raised by another mother, and then found by her first mother 6 years later. She's an innocent in a situation created entirely by adults. I do it because Rebecca deserves it. She lost 6 years with her daughter. 6 years of first words, first steps, first days of school. I can't give those years back, but I can give her a place in Lily's future, and I do it because, somewhere along the way, Rebecca stopped being my enemy and started being my partner. Not in a romantic sense, though people have asked that too, but in a parenting sense. We're 2 women who both want what's best for the same child. That's a powerful foundation for cooperation. Last month, Lily asked if we could take a family photo. A real one, she said. With both my mommies. Rebecca and I looked at each other. Neither of us had expected this. Sure, baby, I said. Let's do it. We sat on the couch, me on one side, Rebecca on the other, Lily in the middle grinning. We used my phone's timer and took a dozen shots. In the best one, we're all laughing at something Lily said. You can't see any awkwardness, any history, any pain. You just see 3 people who love each other. I keep that photo on my nightstand. It reminds me that families aren't defined by blood or paperwork. They're defined by choice. By showing up. By deciding, every single day, to love someone even when it's hard. Rebecca didn't give birth to me, and I didn't give birth to her. But we're family now. Bound together by a little girl with wild curls and a smile that lights up every room she enters. Why Mother, Lily's grandma Gloria, has become the unofficial mediator of our little family. She's the one who reminds Rebecca about Lily's allergies, who organizes holiday schedules, who keeps everyone's calendar straight. I never thought I'd be coordinating with my daughter-in-law's husband's ex-wife, she said once, It's a lot of relationships, I laughed. It's a lot of love. That's what matters. She's right. Our family tree looks like a tangled mess on paper, but in practice, it works. Lily has two mothers who adore her, a grandmother who spoils her, and a stability that no one would have predicted 2 years ago. We built this from the wreckage of lies. We built it one dinner at a time, one school play at a time, one birthday party at a time. It's not perfect. But it's ours every night. I check on Lily before I go to bed. I stand in her doorway and watch her sleep, the way I have since she was 3 months old. For a long time after that night in the bathtub, I was afraid. Afraid someone would take her. Afraid I would lose her. Afraid that the courts, the system, biology, would declare me not really her mother. But I don't feel afraid anymore. I watch her sleep, and I see a child who is surrounded by love. Who has two mothers who would do anything for her? Who has a grandmother who thinks she hung the moon? Who has a future that's bright even though her beginning was complicated? She doesn't have nighttime visitors anymore. No one sits on her bed and watches her sleep. Well, except me, sometimes. Except Rebecca, sometimes. Two mothers, watching over her. Protecting her. Loving her. That's not a strange situation. That's a lucky one. If this story teaches you anything, I hope it's this: family is not defined by blood. Marcus believed that biology gave him rights. He believed that because Lily was his daughter, he could do whatever he wanted, steal her from her mother, lie to his wife, control the narrative. But biology doesn't make you a parent. Presence does. Sacrifice does. Waking up every night for the 2 a.m. feeding does. Holding a child through every fever, every nightmare, every first day of school. I am Lily's mother because I chose to be. Every single day for 6 years, I chose to love her, protect her, shape her into the person she's becoming. Rebecca is also Lily's mother. She carried her for 9 months. She gave birth to her. And then she searched for her for 6 years, never giving up, never accepting that her daughter was truly gone. Two mothers who both earned the title. To any woman who is raising a child that isn't biologically yours, through adoption, through fostering, through circumstances like mine, hear me when I say this. You are not less than. You are not a placeholder. You are not a substitute. You are not the fake mother waiting for the real mother to show up. You are the one who showed up. You are the one who stayed. You are the one who did the work of raising a human being, and that work is sacred. Biology is an accident of nature. Motherhood is a choice. A daily, hourly, constant choice to put someone else's needs before your own. I didn't give birth to Lily. But I am her mother. Not like a mother. Not basically a mother. Her mother. Period. Full stop. And if anyone ever tries to tell you that your love is less valid because it didn't start with pregnancy, they are wrong. Profoundly, fundamentally wrong. Any woman who has lost a child, through adoption, through custody, through circumstances beyond your control, hear me when I say this. Your grief is valid. Your search is valid. Your desire to know your child is valid. Rebecca spent 6 years in pain. 6 years of holidays without her daughter. 6 years of wondering, searching, grieving. That pain didn't make her unstable. It made her a mother. The system failed her. Marcus failed her. But she never gave up on finding her child. If you are searching for a child you lost, don't let anyone tell you to move on. Don't let anyone say your child is better off without you. Keep searching. Keep hoping. Keep fighting. Because Rebecca found Lily. Against all odds, across 6 years and 200 miles, she found her. And instead of a battle, she found a partner. Instead of an enemy, she found a friend. That's the ending nobody expected. But it's the ending Lily deserved. My daughter said, "My other mommy visits me at night," and my husband went pale. That was the moment everything changed. The moment the lies began to crumble. The moment a 6-year-old's innocent words exposed a crime that had been hiding in plain sight for years. I didn't know it then, but that moment was also the beginning of something beautiful. The beginning of an unconventional family. The beginning of a partnership between two women who should have been enemies. Lily has 2 mommies now. Not because of divorce or remarriage or anything traditional. Because life is complicated, and love is flexible, and families are what we make them. She's 8 years old now. She's brilliant and funny and kind. She still likes rubber ducks, though she pretends she's too old for them. She wants to be a veterinarian, or maybe a princess, depending on the day. She's happy. That's all that matters. That's all that ever mattered. 2 mothers made sure of it. If you're watching this in the dark, thinking about your own complicated family, your own impossible situation, know this. There is no right way to be a family. There is no normal that you have to achieve. There is only love, consistently shown, day after day after day. The people who love you are your family. The people who show up for you are your family. The people who choose you, even when it's hard, are your family. Biology is just the starting point. What you build from there is what matters. My daughter has 2 mommies. And both of us are exactly where we're supposed to be.